Yeah, so it started that I'd been working on a really long trial and the hours were quite intense, and all of a sudden my grandfather passed away and everything came to a stop. And I found that to be quite a difficult period of time, both personally and professionally. I sort of just swept how I felt under the carpet and kind of soldiered on a bit, and eventually that caught up with me. Yes, so it was one of my colleagues at work at the time, and she had been noticing my behaviours, I suppose, around the office, but also we were friends outside of work, and I think that helped her to observe what was going on with me a lot more. And she herself had experience with people that had difficult times in their lives and kind of knew what to say to me. Didn't even see the behaviours that I was engaging in as particularly reckless. I think I just thought, well, this is just me living life and doing what I need to cope and survive. But she saw it differently and really kind of hammered that home to me. And when she did take me home on that particular day it all came to a head at work, I did feel like I was in a safe place with her. And it was from that point forward that I knew I needed to seek out the help of someone, not just my friends, but of somebody that was able to give me the right sort of guidance, a psychologist. When you are not thinking clearly, sometimes you just need to speak to someone. And eventually you start to calm down. And eventually all those horrible thoughts you are having start to dissipate. And that's because you have someone to talk to. You're letting it out. If you keep it in, it's just going to fester. But if you have someone who's quite level-headed to speak with and who can sort of reframe the situation or help you reframe the situation, it can make a lot of difference, and it can also diffuse any sort of negative thoughts you might be having at that time, or certainly lessen their impact. I think it's just, in general, people are afraid of showing weakness in the legal profession. We're all quite like A-type personalities. We've worked really hard to get to where we are. We are so focused on taking the next step in our careers that we don't want to be perceived as incapable of taking that step, and we certainly don't want any sort of personal problems to get in the way of that. It doesn't hurt anyone if you go up to them and just sort of put it in a way, communicate with them in a way that shows that you're offering support and non-judgmental support. And I think sometimes if you can just briefly mention that you've had some experience with struggling, like everyone does, through a situation, then it does make them more inclined to share. But once you actually open up to someone, it's amazing how different you feel. It's amazing how much of a weight gets lifted off your shoulders.